Hello and welcome back to the WhatEwen'sDoin football channel. Yes, we are back in our usual setup. Finally, I am 100% better now, and it's nice to be back with all the football shirts at the back of me, and to actually be the wearing one as well. So thank you for being so patient, guys. So in today's the video, you've probably read the title of this video, thinking it's a bit of an odd one, but the reason that I'm going to be doing this the video today was because a few days ago I was scrolling through YouTube and I came across actually a game that I've not watched in such a long time, and it was all the way back in the 1997-98 Premier League season, and it was one of the first games I ever watched when I was 6 years old, and it was a FA Cup tie between Chelsea and Manchester United at Stamford Bridge, which was a 8-goal thriller, and Man United came out on top 5-3. And so I thought it might be a cool idea to go back to that season, and when I went through all the strips, like, it was such an amazing era for football strips, especially around that time, and you don't really see those kind of strips, of course, nowadays as well. And with the evolution, if you will, and the new sort of the designs and trying to push the boat out in terms of the creativeness in terms of football strips, like this one I've got on now, the Leeds away top from 2018. I think football strips in general are just going to try and push the boat out to try and make it as crazy as possible, as colourful as possible, like that strip that I saw a while back when it was just strips of the bacon and the inside of a human body as well. Like, what is up with that? So we're gonna take a trip down memory lane, and I'm going to give you my top 5 strips from the Premier League season of 1997-98. So enough chit chat, let's get into it. So the first strip that we've got on our list at number 5 is the Leicester home strip from 1997. Now, the thing that really catches me with this Leicester shirt is the detail on the bottom of the sleeves and the collar as well. I just think it's such a really cool design with just that retro, like, sort of the white line. Again, you do see strips that kind of have those sort of the designs these days, but for me, again, it's so simple, and that iconic Walker sponsor, like, as well. Again, there's just so many strips from the past that for every football club down south that I watch, there's always a strip that always just reminds me of them. And the Walker sponsor, especially as well for Leicester, is just so hugely associated with the club. I mean, I'm pretty sure I'm right in saying that Walker's was at the build, or help was at the build Leicester Stadium. So, like, it was massive. So the Leicester home top from 1997 goes in at number 5. So in at number 4 now, I said beforehand that there's just some strips from the past that you just always associate with the football clubs, and this next one, it just represents everything. So in at number 4 is the Newcastle home strip from 1997, and again, I don't even need to say much. It goes back to the sponsor, the Newcastle was it the brown ale, or as we like to call it in Scotland, the Cape. And again, it's just classic Newcastle. Like, again, there's not a lot to it as such. Like, you know, it's got the classic the black and white stripes of Newcastle. It's got the old style Adidas logo. Again, as I just mentioned, was it the Newcastle the brown ale sponsor, and that's it. And that's all it needs. That's the beauty of it. And again, with me personally, with football strips, I ever tend to like a really simple football strip, or I like it to be mad as fuck. But this is just simplicity at its best for me, and it's gonna be a classic the football strip for the rest of its time, because it's just timeless, it's stylish, and it's got very little, but it's got everything at the same time. something I wish I could say about myself. In at number 3, now this was one of my first football tops ever, I think. I think I got this shirt when I was really young, and it is the Chelsea home strip from 1997. And again, not so much the sponsor that kind of like, you know, takes me back to that Chelsea shirt, because automatically again when I think of Chelsea older strips I usually think of the Coors sponsor. But I think it's just for me personally, because I had this strip when I was maybe about 6 or 7 years old, it's kind of always stuck with me. And again, the players that Chelsea had during that time, even compared to now, you just look back at the likes of Gianfranco Zola, Gianluca Vialli, Roberto Di Matteo, Gustavo Poyet, Marcel Desailly. But yeah, in general, again, there's not a lot going on to the strip, but for this strip and the 2 strips that I've mentioned all already as well, and I think the 2 strips that are in the top 2 all have this recurring theme as well, and I love it, and not enough teams now actually do it on their shirts. They've all got collars and it's so beautiful. And again, like I said, like there's not a lot going on. Like there's a tiny bit of the yellow trim just going out where the blue ends and the white begins. But again, it's got the classic Umbro sponsor like as well, and it's got the old Chelsea badge as well. And again, I think just automatically when I see Chelsea, for me personally, it just takes me back to that strip, and it's so cool. And if I'm ever to get my hands on that strip ever, oh, there's got to be a party up in here. So to the top 2, this was actually a really tricky one, and it was hard to kind of differentiate the 2 just based on the dial. I'm not going to take into account what the team actually achieved that season. So with that in mind, going at number 2 was the league champions of that year, and that is Arsenal and their home strip. Again, another theme that seems to be going on with these strips is that there's not a lot going on in terms of a design standpoint in these shirts, but there's just something about that Arsenal strip that just screams the classic nature of what Arsenal used to actually be. And that's not me trying to have a dig at Arsenal right now, but you know, the team that they were back then is such a long way away of what they are actually now. Again, it's just got that classic look and just screams Arsenal. Like especially again, like there's so many recurring themes in these shirts, but again, it's sponsors mainly that kind of remind me of these shirts. And the JVC, again, that anytime I see that with logo anywhere, I just think of Arsenal. And again, it's much like the Leicester shirt in a small way. It's got the slight red trim on the sleeves, it's got the classic collar, it's got the old style Arsenal badge as well. And like I said as well, they were champions of that year. And yeah, it is just a lovely shirt. Again, so tiny little details that are actually going on in the shirt, but it's screaming everything at the same time. It just screams classic vibes, and that's what I love about it. So Arsenal, you go in at number 2. In at number 1, again, it was a really hard pick between the Arsenal shirt and the shirt that I picked for the top spot, but again, I had to give it to this team because it is just such a lovely strip and such an iconic strip as well. And it is the Manchester United shirt and the home shirt from 1997-98 season. And for me personally, this shirt just screams out Eric Cantona. You know, he scored so many amazing goals for such an iconic team as well, like the likes of David Beckham, Roy Keane, Andy Cole, Dwight York. Like again, that list is genuinely endless. And you know, at that point, Manchester United were such a driving force in becoming such a global sensation as well. Even though they didn't win the league that year, Alex Ferguson was still building something massive. And again, I'm thinking right saying that my brother had the shirt as well, and he actually did get Cantona on the actual back. And like again, in terms of the design itself, there's a little bit more going on in here. Again, the badge is front and center, which if it's done right, it can look amazing. And again, just to say it one more time, the Sharp sponsor, again, that just screams Manchester United. Obviously as well, we've got the old style Umbro logo as well. And there is a few different themes going on here, where you've got the white of the collar, then it kind of transcends into grey. Then on the sleeves as well, it's almost like a zigzaggy sort of the design as well. But again, that in itself, I think it's almost what strips were designed at that time, but at that same time, it's almost as if it's like kind of looking forward design wise in a small way. But again, I just think it's such a lovely shirt, and I think not all of it, but based a lot on the fact that Eric Cantona was at his prime during that year. I think that's probably all it needs. So just to recap, we have got in at number 5 was the Leicester home strip. In at number 4 was the Newcastle home strip. At number 3 was the Chelsea home strip. At number 2 was the Arsenal home strip. And just said there, at number 1 is the Manchester United home kit from 1997. So guys, thank you very much for watching this. I know that this wasn't the most exciting the video, but I thought it might be quite cool just to take a trip down memory lane, just to see just some of these classic strips. If you are interested in seeing the rest of the team strips during that year, they're really easy to find, so I would recommend that you to do that. So yeah, as always guys, thank you very much for watching. If you are a fan of the channel and a fan of football shirts in general, please thank you for subscribing and smash that like button as always. Again, the subs have been amazing, the likes, the views, you guys have just been smashing it. So let's keep it up, and let's try to get to 300 subscribers, because that would be absolutely amazing. So as always guys, thank you very much, and I will see you in the next one. You take care. Bye for now.